There once was a wealthy man, a very, very wealthy man, and he decided he would help anyone that needed help. But the condition was that the person he helped would have to be without hope. And so he began to walk through the village. And he came to a beggar. And he asked the beggar, he said, "Do you need help?" And the beggar said, "By all means, I need help." He says, "I am prepared to give you a bag full of golden coins, but you must answer one question." And so the beggar said, "What's the question?" He said, "Do you have any hope?" And the beggar turned and he said, "Yes, I have hope. One day I'll be able to work each and every day. And each and every day I will get my wages. And I will be able to support my wife and my family and never have to beg again." Well, the rich man said, "I cannot help you." And he walked on. And he came to a blind man. And the blind man was sitting, his clothes a bit ragged, and a cup for coins. He said, "Do you need help?" And the blind man said, "I need help." He says, "I will help you on a condition that you have no hope." "Do you have any hope?" The blind man said, "I hope that one day I will be taken care of, and I will never ever have to beg again." Well, the wealthy man was getting frustrated, and so he walked on. He walked through the village, and he walked outside of the village. And outside of the village, there was a huge pile of refuse, of garbage. And on top of that, there was a man. And the man was barely clothed. He was dirty, he was filthy, he was smelly. And the rich man looked at him, and he thought, "Indeed, this man is without hope, for look where he's at." And he looked up the man, he says, "Do you need help?" And the man said, "Yes, I need help." He says, "I will help you on the condition that you are beyond help." The man looked down at him and said, "What do you mean, without hope?" He says, "I have hope." And the rich man said, "Is there anybody in the world that is without hope?" And the half-naked man that was sitting on that pile of garbage looked at him and said, "Oh, you foolish man, the only ones that are without hope are those that sit in the graveyard." And so the rich man, very angry, very frustrated that he could not help anyone, went into the graveyard. And there grew a huge oak tree. And at the base of the oak tree he dug a hole and he buried his bag of golden coins. And after some time he totally forgot about it. But the wheel of fortune turned against him. And as the wheel of fortune turned, he lost his fortunes. He lost his fancy home. He lost his clothes. He lost everything and took to the road as a beggar. And everywhere he went, he begged and he begged until one day it came that he totally forgot that at one time he was a wealthy man. And after many years, he remembered. He remembered that oak tree. He remembered the cemetery where the oak tree was. And so he went back and he began to dig at the base of that oak tree. And a caretaker of the graveyard came by and grabbed him and took him to the town constable, who brought him before the judge. He said, "You are accused of grave robbing, for we saw you digging in the cemetery." And the man turned and he said, "Yes, I was digging in the cemetery, and I have lost hope." And the judge looked at him, and the judge said, "Are you truly without hope?" And the man said, "I have begged all these years, and my life has been hard. I wear rags upon my back. I do not get to bathe often. I am not happy. I am very, very, very sad." And the judge looked at him and said, "Do you look up at me?" But the man, he was so ashamed. He said, "I cannot lift my head." He says, "Why?" He said, "I am ashamed." But the judge said, "Look at me, look at me." And the man looked up. And the judge said, "Do you know who I am?" And the man sadly shook his head no. And the judge said, "Let me tell you a story." And so he told him about a man that was barely clothed, standing on top of a pile of garbage, of refuse, smelly, dirty. The man shook his head and said, "I don't remember such a thing." And the judge said, "I do remember, for I was that man, and you had a bag of golden coins, and asked me if I was without hope, and I told you that there is no such thing, and only those in the graveyard are without hope." The man looked up at him and said, "How can this be? How can this be?" And the judge said, "Answer me one question. Were you digging at the base of that oak tree in hopes of finding your bag of golden coins?" And the man said, "Yes." And the judge said, "Go, get what is yours, and live out the rest of your life. But remember, there is always hope. And when you, in kindness, give and help and nurture those around you, you are strengthening that hope." And you know what happened? The wheels of fortune turned again, and the man slowly gained a fortune. And every day he would give, and he would give from his heart. And he was blessed with many days, and each and every day he helped build hope for those that are around him.